First tips question today, sponsored, by Trantolo and Trantolo. Since 1938, they've been fighting for you and all injured victims out there. Their offices are in Hartford, Waterbury, Bridgeport, New Haven, and Torrington. Save some time. Give them a call, 844-999-9999. Is conference realignment making college football better or worse?
That's a really good question. I don't know. Okay, Kurt shrugged his shoulders in the studio. I don't know. I think it's going to make a lot of individuals some money. I think it might make like the fanfare around it a little bit better. Maybe you have better lights, bells, and whistles on things. But the like actual play, like actual fire or juice for a game, I do think I always think of Maryland and Maryland going to the Big Ten when it comes to rivalries and those being squashed. Now, there are times, because Maryland used to be huge with North Carolina, Duke, and Virginia. There are times now where Maryland will match up with one of those schools in like tournament play. And that becomes even a bigger situation because you haven't played them in 10 years. And back in the 70s and 80s, it used to be very cutthroat. And now we're playing you in a game to put you out. And that's always fun. But it used to be a thing that you put on your calendar for certain teams. And, you know, I feel for Oregon State, Washington State. They're probably going to keep those rivalries. They're probably going to still play that game.
Oh, yeah.
But it's not going to mean as much as it used to. The other thing I think about is just upsets. Are you ever going to have an App State beat a Michigan? Like, not even just, like, the comparative of talent. I'm talking just, like, will that game even get set up anymore? I don't think so.
No, I think there's going to be less cupcakes on the schedule because there's too many teams on the schedule. But I do think there will be upsets, but I agree with you on the rivalries. A lot of these rivalries will go away. I still like the ACC. I like it's geographically, built on the East Coast. I mean, the travel is up and down the East Coast, and if they play their cards right and try to keep a lot of those teams invested and built up through the TV rights, I think that's going to be fine. But I think some of these other ones, Big 10, Big 12, SEC, I think will be fine. SEC's got so many dominant teams, and they're going to be dominant for the next decade. But I don't know if the play can be any better. I'm a huge college football fan. My wife and I, to the point where our first time we've ever purchased season tickets for UConn. We can't wait to see what it brings and the teams that come in here for 6 games. I mean, that's the excitement that's being generated because pro sports, honestly, even though I played in the major leagues, it's boring. It's boring. Watching the way the Mets have played since the trade deadline is awful. It's that product sucks. And I feel bad for the fan base to have your owner come out, your general manager come out and say, we're not going to compete this year and maybe next year. That you can't do that in college football.
Right.
And certainly when you're recruiting and trying to get 4- and 5-star athletes, it's so competitive. I just read where another, top 100 recruit went somewhere. So it catches my eye. Since I've been working with you now, I'm more invested in college sports and things that catch my eye really quickly. Like, oh, okay, that I never would have 10 years ago noticed a top 100 baseball player going to a college. Yeah. Wouldn't have cared. And even
that's
shame
gotten
on
so much
me,
bigger too.
Right?
That's gotten so much
my
bigger.
attitude was I'm not following them until they're either in the minor leagues or in the big leagues. And even minor leaguers, people always come up to me like, "Hey, do you know this guy in Double A?" I'm like, man, there's 800 guys in the big leagues.
Right.
There's
tough to keep up with
2,500 in the NFL. It's tough to keep up with. And knowing everybody and well enough to where I can comment.
Right.
So it's more so I think college football, college basketball, college baseball has actually become more dominant in the perspective that I have more interest in those sports than I did 10 years ago.
Yeah, for sure. I'm wondering too, and like your comment of, let's say we're 0-for. Let's just take UConn for this season, and let's put it out there because everything we say on this show doesn't come true. So this will be a good one. Let's say they go 0-for until that Sacred Heart game at home. I think it's November 18th. Like we'll still be jacked up to beat Sacred Heart. I'll be damned if we're losing to them. Right. And there's still, I think, that vibe out there, and that's going to continue no matter who is on the schedule because there is a sense of pride for the people that you come to play. Like, you're talking the pros, and just like, my Cubbies, your Reds. Let's say they fall out of favor, And even the fan base knows, like, this is a bunch of chumps from AAA or AA. They're not even trying to win.
Right.
I'll just go to the ballpark for a hot dog. That's what I'm going to get out of it. I'm not trying to root like your Red Sox, man. I just asked you boys, like, oh, Chris Sale coming back? Does it matter?
Like, well, they're a little deflated, but they have been playing really well.
But I can understand how a professional athlete could give a rat's butt.
Ebbs and flows. About
the end of a season, especially if we're completely out of it. I can't understand that as a freshman for any school on any football field. Like, I can't comprehend that, and I don't think many of the players can either. The one thing that we have lost over the years, and that's not anything to do with conference realignment, it's just it is what it is there's not that many local kids that go to the local school. And I understand that completely. But when you do have Victor Rosas from Bristol, when you do have Donovan Klingons from Bristol, let's throw Jackson Mitchell in there from Ridgefield. Just give them some love. Or some Travis Jones from New Haven. When you got those guys, like, it brings me to the game more, and it gets me more fired up of our guys from our area beating them and those people from that place. And you're losing a little bit of that.
Absolutely. But, at the same time, things have grown.
Right.
The way we gather information, and I, having grown up with a news gathering father, the way we get our sports now, honestly, it's not offensive to me anymore. What it is okay. Well, then I got to go look for it, but there's so many things now, like you were just talking about linear, listen, people, I'm old enough. I grew up with this. I grew up with black and white TVs.
Wasn't that a great life?
Oh, my God. I grew up with 3 channels. I remember when, you had your cable box, and to get the other channels, you flipped it, and you went to a whole nother side. So listen, if you're a young person listening right now, you're lucky. You're lucky. Technology is so wonderful in what we've done in the last 100 years.
I don't know. I feel like they're getting ripped off, man. Have you guys ever had to watch a Bob Hope special because nothing else is on? No.
Or a Dean Martin roast.
Those are great.
Go look them up on the internet. You don't even know what the internet is. I remember when it was invented. I remember when it was dial-up.
I remember when we told you to go to www.stuff.
Oh my God,
remember when we said that? Go to www.
HTTP www. I remember like the little telephone going to the thing and then connecting to your...
gosh, that's so old school.
Yeah.
Who wants that life?
Nobody. I remember those sounds, too.
Dial-up.
All right, when we come back, who we had, who we lost.